Hey everybody, so welcome to my first video, and I'm just going to share with you some of my experiences with growing plants aeroponically or hydroponically. This is my first time doing this kind of stuff. I'm kind of limited to where I can grow plants. I have a small balcony, and where I live, winter's just around the corner, so I wanted to start growing stuff indoors so I can have it all year round. And it's actually working out quite well. So this is my tower garden specifically. And I bought this in July. It's now mid-September, so I've had it for a couple months now. And pretty much almost everything you see on here was grown from seed, except for a couple of the basil plants, and this sage plant over here was grown previously. But all the lettuce, so let me go through kind of what I have here. Let's start at the bottom. So this is called tenerumi. It's a Sicilian squash, basically, or gourd, whatever you want to call it. And it grows a lot like a vine, so you can see it's growing off my tower garden into where I have my Kratky hydroponic plants over here. And they actually grow really, really massive zucchinis, but I'm not actually growing it for the zucchini. I'm actually growing it for the leaves and some of the stems, because they're really tasty, especially the smaller leaves, in soups and stews. So what I do is I grow the leaves here, and then I harvest them and mix them in with soups, which I really enjoy. Here I also have some lettuce, mixed leafy greens. I think there's a butter, what is it called? Or a bib lettuce, I think is one of them. I have some kale over here, which is doing okay. It was not growing for a while, and now it's starting to grow much better. And I've been having some issues here and there with aphids, and I've been trying to take care of them with spraying it with water mixed with a drop of oil, a drop of soap, and infused garlic, and it's been helping a lot, killing them. But if it's too strong, sometimes it burns my leaves a bit, and you can see it did that a bit with some of these basil plants here, these baby basil plants. So what else do I have? I have some Italian dandelion, which I'm growing, which is really, really good for you. It's a bit bitter, but very good in soups with tomato. I have some, I think this is more kale, I believe, or is this my cauliflower? I think this might be my cauliflower, actually. Yeah, I have another cauliflower here. And I have some anise hyssop, which is supposed to be good for things like inflammation. I have some chives, some more leafy greens here, some basil plants. I use a lot of basil. Here is another chamomile. I'm just kind of playing around with these. I don't know if they're actually going to bloom very well in here. And what else? I have some arugula, which also was struggling because of the aphids. So this one actually is starting to take off, but then this one here, which was grown at the same time, is just struggling. So I might have to end its life soon. And I have some parsley, which was grown from seed as well. And it's doing well now, but it was kind of taking a while. I have some stinging nettle. So we'll see how well that grows. I have some amaranth, kind of just for fun. I was using it for microgreens, but I thought I would grow it in here. And I have some rapini. The rapini's okay. It's growing kind of slow, so I don't get a lot of leaves. I basically just trim off a few leaves and put them in my lentil soups or different things like that. What I'm surprised with is actually these tomato plants. So these tomato plants were grown from seed. I think I started them in July, and it's already mid-September. You can see how big they are. I honestly wasn't expecting them to grow well in the grow tower because it's inside, it's not outdoors, and I thought I didn't have enough light. But you can see that it's growing quite well and already getting a lot of flowers. So I've been hand pollinating these myself, either kind of shaking them, squeezing them, and see if they actually grow. But they're doing really, really well. I'm surprised. So I'll show you some of the seeds here that I have. These are the Tenarumi seeds, the Sicilian squash. And then inside here I have two different types of rapini. I have one of each on the tower garden. And I have this hybrid patty pan summer squash. So those are the little cute little yellow round squashes. And that I just started a couple weeks ago maybe. So there it is. So we'll see how that does. I chose those because they don't grow very big, and I'm trying to grow small plants in here. So the tomatoes are these Tumbler F1 hybrid trailing tomatoes. So they're little tomatoes. And here's some of the gourmet lettuce and the bib lettuce. This came with the tower garden. There's the Italian dandelion. I get a lot of my seeds from Johnny's Seeds. They got a great selection. But I get them from different places because different places have different seeds. These are the chives that I used that I showed you earlier. And then over here in my Kratky containers, I have some watermelon. So it's called, what is it? Sugar Baby Watermelon. Sugar Baby Watermelon. And I don't know what's gonna happen with these. I just thought it would be fun to try. I was gonna put them at the bottom here in the tower garden, but I decided to optimize with the Tenarumi because I use Tenarumi a lot. I like using it in my soups and stews. And then I also have these mini bell peppers. So mini bell peppers. And these are from Mackenzie Seeds. So they're okay. They've been struggling with the aphids, so they're not growing too well. Yeah, so you can see a couple more here. And I do different things. I take them off by my hand, I run them under cold water, I spray them. But the seedlings, you gotta be careful because if they're really young, you can hurt them by spraying them with the aphid repellent, even if it's organic and homemade. Here is some cantaloupe from Rainbow Seeds. They're in Alberta. Oh, sorry. New Brunswick, I guess. So it's not really growing very quickly. I don't expect it to grow very quickly in this thing. And then I have some Mizuna seeds that I'm growing here. It's supposed to be another kind of green. I was going to use it for microgreens, but I thought let me try and grow them. And they're not growing very quickly. Then I have some basil. This was a lot bigger, but I just started trimming it because I want to kind of get it bushy. And some cauliflower, which I also have in the grow tower. Some dark opal basil, which is growing kind of slow. Here is some more chamomile. And then down here, I'm really excited about these ones. These are micro tomatoes. So they're supposed to grow really small and have these little tiny tomatoes, and there's something that you can grow on your windowsills. So I'm pretty excited about those. They were hard to find. I got them from this place called Twin Vine. And I'll show you some other micro tomato plants that look like they're almost flowering already. What else? I got some chives. These are some of my plants that are not doing too well. So I'm trying to keep an eye on them. So let's go. Oh, and here is my kind of little nursery where I start sprouting my seeds in this tank here. And here where I'm growing some mushrooms as well, some oyster and lionhead mushrooms, which I've grown a few already. Here are more of my micro tomatoes. So these are the younger ones that were planted, I don't remember, I wrote it down somewhere, but I think these are a few weeks old. These ones are a bit older. And then this one, look at that, look how well it's growing already. And you can see here, I don't know, I think those are flowers. It hasn't bloomed yet, but look, you can see my hand, it's not very big. And I will move these because it's getting kind of tall, so I'm going to put them in another area. But these are my micro tomatoes. I really, really love tomatoes, and so I'm trying to find an efficient way to grow them indoors, see if it's actually worth it, if I'm going to get much from it. I also have some plants here in my kitchen. So these are more F1 tumbler tomato plants. I think I sprouted too many seeds, and I hate having to kill them, so I'm going to see what happens with them here. You can see they're growing a little bit of the flowers, but they don't seem to be doing too well. And then obviously I got more basil here and here and here, and I really do use a lot of basil and a lot of tomatoes. Here's some more basil. Here's another micro tomato. I'm really excited about these ones, so we'll see what happens with that. There you go. There's a little tour of what I got growing, and I'll kind of keep you updated. I'll talk to you more about the grow tower another time. Maybe I'll show you in here. This is where the water goes in, and you can see some of the roots from the plants are already growing in the bottom. And it waters the plants every 45 minutes for a few minutes, and it kind of just brings all the water up, and then it showers it down through there. And the moving water waters the plants, and it gets the oxygen going as well, getting some air movement in there. I have a fan up here. There's another grow light in there to give it extra light, and there's another grow light there just to kind of help these guys out. And it's been a lot of fun. It's really cool. Today I actually harvested, it looks like there's a lot of lettuce, but I actually harvested quite a bit today when I was having my lunch. So it's definitely a lot that you can grow on here. The lettuce, I would say, is the easiest to grow, the fastest to grow. If you want to just if you're starting out with the tower garden or any kind of aeroponics, hydroponics, I would definitely go with the lettuce because they grow pretty quickly, they grow well, they don't require too extensive of a root system, and it's something you can eat right away. But I definitely like growing a lot of herbs, as you can see. And these tomatoes, I feel like it's not the best use of my space because they've been here for a couple months now. I really haven't been able to harvest anything from them. So we'll see. We'll give it a shot and see. Maybe I'll dedicate one to the tomato. But I kind of want to plant other things that are going to reap more, that I can harvest within at least a month or a month and a half, I think is fair. The dark basil, they're not growing very big, and to be honest, the flavor is not that it's not that intense. So we'll see what happens with those. Here I have some thyme, which was taking a while to grow. It was just kind of stagnant for a while, and now it's growing. And I have another one back here as well. But this basil's growing really well. This one I think is a Newton basil, which is not growing as well. But these are actually not from seed. This one is actually a cutting. This is from one little cutting that I did, that I transplanted here. And what else do I have here? Yeah, I guess that's about it. So we'll see what happens with these. Again, it's just kind of playing around with everything. Here's some more rapini that I've been harvesting. The rapini and the kale are being attacked the most by the aphids. It's really annoying. So I spray the kale, the rapini, and the arugula. They seem to love that stuff. I get a little bit on the parsley, not much. A little bit on the dandelions, not much. Usually I don't get it much on the basil, although there was one basil plant. I think it was a Newton basil that was just tapped, and I didn't catch it in time, so I had to get rid of that one. But, and surprisingly, the lettuce. The aphids are not going after the lettuce, which is weird because there's so much of it. It's so bushy and moist. They seem to be liking the darker greens, the more pungent ones. And they're really not bothering my tomato plants either. So it seems like they're attacking the most nutrient dark greens that I have, which is kind of interesting. I guess they know those are the most nutrient. And the sage is doing really, really well in here. You're not really supposed to take things that were grown in soil and put it in here. I washed the soil out really, really well because you don't want any soil in your hydroponic, aeroponic system. And eventually it needed some adjusting time. It wasn't growing for a while. And I think once it started adjusting to the new water and nutrient and lighting, it flourished. I don't use a lot of sage that much. I find sage goes really well with things like, roasted chicken and lamb and things like that, but I don't usually eat that as much. It's a very winter heavy herb, so maybe I'll use it more in the winter. But it is doing really well. I did transplant some plants, some herbs from soil to here, like some parsley, some rosemary, a thyme, and they did not do well at all. And I actually lost a couple of them. But this thyme was from seed, and it is doing well in here so far. So yeah, so that's it for today, and I'll see you again soon.